Hello and welcome. From the moment your doctor utters the words, "You have cancer," you're a survivor. You step onto a path that no one wants to be on, and your life is irrevocably changed. No amount of information can prepare you for that reality. The journey can be difficult physically, emotionally, and spiritually, and it's always frightening. You're watching Road to Relay, and I invite you to take a few steps alongside some survivors, as well as their families, while they navigate the cancer experience. No two people will have the same experience, but along the way you will find compassion, community, help, and most of all, hope. 1 in 4 Canadians will be affected by cancer. 1 in 4. The Saskatchewan division of the Canadian Cancer Society helps to bring hope by bringing together community to support survivors, their friends, loved ones, teachers, people you pass on the street every day. Relay for Life is a celebration of life and hope in our community. It raises funds for the Canadian Cancer Society right here at home in Saskatchewan. Over the course of this series, you will see how your donations help survivors and their families, and how you can get involved to make a real difference. Cancer is not a battle that is fought alone. It takes a team, and as a community, we can all be part of that team. We can help make the road easier in a myriad of ways, and we can join together at Relay for Life to honor those who have gone before and celebrate the victories along the way. I'm your host, Karen Morley, and I'm a cancer survivor. I'd like to introduce you to Marilyn. Marilyn is an ovarian cancer survivor. She's a social worker, the wife of a farmer, a mother, a grandmother, and to me, an inspiration. Meet Marilyn. So, Marilyn, can you tell me about when you were first diagnosed?
I was diagnosed in 2008, and if it hadn't been for my daughter actually urging me to go to the doctor, I probably wouldn't be here now. But I got to the doctor when I was, still stage 1. So my chances were higher of surviving. But with ovarian cancer, the survival rate is not that great anyway. But I figured I was going to survive it, and went through treatments full tilt, and didn't quit work. I wanted to keep going, and I love my work, and it kept me mentally, I think, going ahead and fighting it. But then I had a recurrence in 2012. I went for surgery again and more chemo. And I'm in the middle of my chemo right now. So I've had 3, and I have 3 more to go.
So, and in that process, how did you get more information about your particular cancer? Because as you said, that was something you hadn't heard of.
Yeah. Well, I searched the internet right off. I phoned the health line. As soon as I got the call that my CA-125, which is a blood test that was elevated, that indicated either a tumor or cyst, my GP phoned and phoned me at work, told me that. And of course you just hear tumor, and thought, so that night I went to, we had a party at one of my girlfriend's house, just a girls' night, and didn't say a word to anybody. But that night, when I got home, about midnight, I phoned the health line. What is the C125 and stuff? So that was good to have somebody to talk to, like in sort of the middle of the night type of thing. Yeah. And then I got on the internet and searched. That was the main thing, I guess, where I found information.
So what other support mechanisms did you use that you found really helpful?
Once I got to the cancer clinic, they have a wonderful resource center there, and so I got a couple books and videos that I watched on ovarian cancer, and they were very helpful. Yeah.
And didn't you also start helping other people and giving presentations? And tell me why you felt the need to do that.
Well, when I was at the cancer center, I work in mental health myself as an adult counselor and run support groups. And so I knew the value of support groups. And so my first visit to the cancer clinic, I asked the nurse there if they had support groups. And yes, there was. So I was connected to the support group right away. And because I live halfway between Regina and Saskatoon, there's two groups, so I'm connected with both groups. So that was wonderful. But when I got also from the library, the cancer clinic, they had run out of You Are Not Alone material, which is a wonderful resource because it's telling about other survivors. It's a DVD. And so that you aren't going through it alone. There's lots, because I never heard of ovarian cancer before, and so you want to connect. So they had run out of that, but they had a Listen to the Whispers package, and I took that home and watched it, and I thought, oh, I've got to get out there and warn other women so they don't get caught with this. Yeah. So I I phoned my local library actually and said, I'm prepared to do a presentation. Would you be open to that? And they said, absolutely. So they rounded up chairs from different churches. We live in a small town community. And yeah, about 50 some women turned out that first time, and then it just mushroomed from there. I worked for the health region in the Heartland, and they had, different ones, different communities, and they asked me to come, and Saskatoon too, so it was great.
So you felt like it was important to warn other people of this silent killer that sneaks up on people.
Yes, and because usually as women we're so busy looking after everybody else, our kids and friends and husbands and work, and we're busy. And we have a tendency, I think, to ignore the signs and symptoms, and they can be mistaken for other conditions. But it's important for women to be persistent. You know, sometimes we just put things off and just think, oh well, I'll check it out later, and time goes on and on and on. And time is important. You need to get these things checked out. So longer than 3 weeks, if you have symptoms, just go and get checked out. So.
Okay, so you told us about the physical journey once you were diagnosed. Tell me about the other parts of that. There's mental and emotional. Tell me about that journey from the first time you were diagnosed.
Well, when I was diagnosed originally in 2008, I just had the mindset that I'm plowing through this and it's not going to get me. And I'd heard so many comments about cancer that you're never the same after you're changed forever. I thought, it's not going to change me. I'm the same person I am, and I'll get through this. And I just kept on working, and my idea, I guess, was it's easier to think about other people's problems than what you're going through, you know, helping somebody else rather than what you're going through. And so that was wonderful for me. If I'd had a physical form of work, I wouldn't have been able to do it. But this is all mental work, I guess, emotional work that I do. But so I plowed through the first time, and well, it's fine. However, when I was diagnosed and read up about ovarian cancer, and I thought, okay, I had done a fair bit of palliative work, and I know that you don't know how long you're going to be. And so I cleaned house, I'll tell you, literally. Got rid of stuff thinking, I don't want my kids to have to deal with this. And yeah, just made some changes. And so that was the way I handled the first time. But now with a recurrence, it's a different story. First time you think, well, I could conquer this. But when you have a recurrence, at least with ovarian cancer, it's, you know that's not the case. And I was told that, I mean, I knew that, but I had a resident tell me right after, when I was coming out of, still in post-op, you know, recovery, you realize that this is not a cure. I said, no, I realize that. You've just bought me some more time. And so then there's a different feel. I know after the first time, you figure it's not going to change me. However, you do live under a cloud after that, that you know it can come back to bite you at any time. And so it's always there, you know. But I just plowed on through. But the second time, you know it's going to get you with this. So I wrestle with that sometimes. I have to, the things that have gotten me through are I call the 4 F's in life, and it's a wraparound philosophy, actually, an old social work concept. And it's faith, family, friends, fun. You've got those 4 things going on in your life, you can make it through. And so faith has always been a big part of my life. And for some people, a negative experience can bring them closer to their faith. And for me, it sort of numbs me out a bit. So I wrestle with God, you know, like, how come? And, you know, I'm just at the point of life where maybe we could enjoy the fruits of our labor and do some fun things and travel or whatnot. And here, bang. And so, you know, sort of that, poor me. And then I have to give myself a kick and get going again. But I know just my 60th birthday was just a couple weeks ago, and I went through a bit of a frump a couple days before that. And I don't get into frumps very often, but I was in a frump. And so I was really struggling, wrestling with God and wrestling with the idea of cancer, and this is going to be yucky. And I do have a girlfriend who's dying of breast cancer right now, and I know that's factored into it. And so the night before, my husband went in to get the mail. We live in the country, and brought home a book that my cousin had sent me. And it was just perfect. It had been sitting in the post office for 2.5 weeks. If I'd gotten it 2 weeks earlier, it wouldn't have meant as much. But it was just the perfect timing. And it was talking about living with an attitude of gratitude. And I just devoured that book because it was describing a woman in a real funk and how she came out of it. And yeah, okay. That was right.
Not only is it the 4 F's, but there are other things like having support of other women that have gone through it, that kind of, because we all have that cloud. Anybody who's a cancer survivor knows what you mean by that. And it seems like only another cancer survivor maybe can relate at that level. So can you tell us how that cancer support group for you is instrumental in helping you get the most out of the time you have?
Okay. The support that I've found that's been great through the Cancer Connection has just been awesome. I connected with the support group in both areas, Regina and Saskatoon, and that's been great because you're connecting with women who are going through the same thing, so emotionally, and physical tips as well on how to get through the treatments is awesome. You're not alone. And I really feel for people who are struggling on their own, not connecting with a group or with peer connection. Peer support group 2 is a phone service that the Cancer Society has, and they connect you with someone who has the most like cancer to you in the stage, and and that was great in having that support too. And I've still stayed connected since 2008 with that lady, so I really appreciated her. And I've stayed at the Cancer Lodge, and that has been awesome as well. Not only because we live in the country, to be able to drive in and stay, because you have your appointment the day before your treatment, and then for your chemo the next day, and it's usually early in the morning, so it's nice not to have to travel back and forth. But a big chunk of that is the camaraderie that you develop at the Cancer Lodge. You feel like you belong because you're with people who are going through the same thing, not the same type of cancer, but going through treatments, and I don't know, it's just a sense of belonging that's awesome.
So what other things would you tell somebody that maybe has yet to step on this journey?
Well, that it's so many people go into, hearing the word cancer and then being scared to death. But the cancer, connecting with the cancer clinic, they are so well organized, and I swear they must go through and just pick certain people to work there, because they are absolutely fantastic. So I don't know, it's just awesome, because you do feel a sense of belonging in a way. I know that may sound weird, but it's they phone you ahead and get you prepared and show you through the clinic, and they're so organized. They know what to do, so you can just rely on them. You don't have to think, oh, what do I have to do now? Mm-hmm. However, you do have to be your own advocate. You do. I found that out lots. You still have to, I kept a record of all my appointments, all my test results, because sometimes you're sent from specialist to specialist, and your information doesn't get there in time. And so then you can hand them their stuff and say, this is what I'm going through. Or if you have to go to emergency, that has been very helpful. And I got that tip from another cancer patient who's a nurse, and yeah, I did that, and that was a huge, important tip.
So what your husband went through. I know what my husband went through. What would you tell someone whose family, who are probably equally frightened, what would you tell them if they were just about to take this same lousy trip?
I guess for family and friends, just to be there is so important. It is hard as a patient to be your own advocate. It takes a lot of energy when you're fighting the disease. So it would help to have some backing and support. And that's where a support group comes in, because they've been on that journey. This is a new journey for family too, and it's terrifying for them. I've been on the other end, and had family members going through cancer, and I think it's just as hard on the family members in a different way. And so, yeah, you have to be patient with each other and realize that everybody goes through a different journey and everyone reacts differently. And as a patient, not to realize that your friends and family are struggling too, and sometimes they'll say things that maybe aren't the most helpful, but they're struggling to keep the cancer at bay themselves. Like, they don't want this happening to you. Well, community does matter and it's the phone calls and or messages left on the phone saying, you don't have to get back to me, but we're just thinking about you, praying for you. Those mean a lot, or I can drive you someplace if you want, or, or I had a couple friends who would leave flowers at my house, and it doesn't have to be a big bouquet. Sometimes we think it has to be a big thing that we do, and it's just the little things. Like, you don't have to bring over the big turkey dinner. Half a dozen muffins is wonderful. It just says, I'm thinking about you. When you're going through chemo, you're not eating a lot anyway. But it's just those, I'm thinking of you. Community support just means a lot. A hug. Just a hug. Awesome.
I told you Marilyn was an inspiration, wasn't she? Remember to hug somebody today. Now I'd like to tell you a little bit about what your donation at Relay for Life funds. What we have here is a caring kit. This caring kit is unique to the Saskatchewan division of the Canadian Cancer Society. In this caring kit, you're going to find a whole lot of things that you might not know that you need. You'll find out that you do. So your first visit to the oncologist, you're going to get a caring kit. And in this kit, you're going to find a myriad of things that you'll need. The first thing you'll notice is the pamphlets. The pamphlets are full of information. They often duplicate the information that your doctor already told you, but at that first appointment, you're going to be so overwhelmed that you're not going to remember a lot of it. So it helps to have that. At the end of each pamphlet, there's also information on what to ask your doctor and how to talk to your doctor about specific concerns that you may have. So it's very, very useful. One of the other things you'll find in the kit is hand sanitizer, a little bit of bottle of Purell. And you'll also find that during chemo, your risk of infection is very, very high. So you're going to want to use that hand sanitizer and keep your hands as clean as you can at all times. The other thing you'll find is some cream. So this bottle of cream is unscented lotion, which during radiation, you're going to find that you need to use lotion regularly if radiation is a part of your treatment. And the unscented also reduces the risk of infection and all other kinds of things that you can have. So that's very valuable. You will also find some chapstick, because radiation and chemo are going to dehydrate you, so you're going to need that chapstick, and you don't want to risk chapping and cracking lips, because any place that you have an open sore, again, risks your infection. You'll find a water bottle, and you might think, oh, that's nice, a water bottle, but it's imperative that during chemo, because chemotherapy is putting poison into your body, it's imperative that you keep yourself hydrated all the time. The best thing that you can do is drink fluids. The more you can, the better. So I recommend carrying around that water bottle at all times. You'll also find a stress ball. You may not think you need it now, but you will. And then one of the final things in the adult caring kit that you'll find are these little ginger candies. I found these amazing. A couple of reasons. One, during chemo, your mouth tastes really, really funny. It tastes like metal, oily metal, and it doesn't taste good. So those ginger candies will actually cut through that taste in your mouth and make it feel a little better. The other thing that you can do with them that I did was during chemo, everybody knows you can get a little nauseous. What you can do is dissolve those in a cup of hot water, and it makes kind of a tea. And the ginger really, really settles your stomach, while that warm tea helps you take more fluids in. So it's a great little caring kit. As I said, when you first get it, you have no idea what all of these things are going to be for, but you're going to need them. The Canadian Cancer Society also provides a caring kit for children. Let's take a look at what's in here. First thing you'll find is a really handy book for parents and understanding what happens when your child has cancer and helping you get through it, because as parents you're going to need that too. There's also stuff in here for the kids. Coloring books to while away the time, because let's face it, you spend a lot of time getting chemo or waiting around doctor's appointments, and it's bad enough when you're an adult, but when you're a kid, it's really hard. So not only is there a coloring book, but I believe they put crayons in too. One of the things I found in here that's really, really important is it's a little storybook, and it's called Hope and the Dragon. And it's about explaining to your child, because your child doesn't understand what having cancer is. So it helps you tell a story to your child so that they understand what the journey is going to be. You heard Marilyn say, everybody needs a hug. Well, we got a little tiger for your child's hug too. There's also in here a book called Project Hope, which is a series of photographs and short stories about children who have gone through this illness. And again, that brings you hope. And lastly in here, there's a deck of cards. And they're great cards. They're Avengers kind of thing, Hulk. And it's for the kids to play with while they're waiting in the appointments. It helps you interact with your kids during that difficult time. So that's Road to Relay for this week. I'd like to thank Marilyn Williams for sharing her story with us. We're back every Wednesday at 6 p.m. on Access 7, leading up to the Canadian Cancer Society's Relay for Life. June 8th, Douglas Park. Be sure to join us. And watch for the replay of Road to Relay Sundays at 6 p.m. I really appreciate your tuning in. Bye for now.